In 1815, while the entire world was waiting to find out who won the Battle of Waterloo, one family already knew. They received the information before any king, any queen, any government, or any military commander in Europe. And in the hours between receiving that secret information and the rest of the world finding out, they made a financial move so calculated, so precise, and so ruthless that it gave them control over the entire British economy before breakfast. Their name was Rothschild. And if you think the Rockefellers were powerful, you have absolutely no idea what you are about to learn. Subscribe to this channel right now because we are just getting started and this story is going to change everything you thought you knew about wealth and power. The Rothschild family is estimated to be worth somewhere between $1 trillion and $500 trillion depending on who is doing the counting and what they are allowed to count. They have not appeared on a Forbes rich list in decades. Not because they are not rich enough, but because they deliberately structured their wealth in a way that makes it legally impossible for any outside investigator to count. They do not want you to know what they own. They do not want you to know what they control. And for 200 years they have been remarkably successful at making sure you never found out. But let us start at the beginning. Because like every great dynasty story, the Rothschild story starts with nothing. In 1744, in the Jewish ghetto of Frankfurt, Germany, a boy named Mayer Amschel is born. The ghetto is a single street where Jewish families are forced to live, locked in at night, forbidden from most professions, and treated as second-class citizens by everyone around them. The conditions are cramped, dangerous, and deliberately humiliating. Jewish families in Frankfurt at this time have almost no legal rights and almost no opportunities to build wealth. This is the world Mayer Amschel is born into. His father runs a small trading business dealing in coins and currency. When his father dies young, Mayer Amschel is sent to work as an apprentice at a banking firm in Hanover. Here he learns everything about money, finance, currency exchange, and the mechanics of how wealth moves between powerful people. He absorbs every lesson like a man who knows that knowledge is the only weapon available to someone with no land, no title, and no legal protections. He returns to Frankfurt, takes over his father's coin-dealing business, and changes the family name from Bauer to Rothschild. Rothschild means red shield in German, after the red shield that hung outside his family's house on the ghetto street. From this moment forward, the red shield becomes one of the most powerful symbols in financial history. Mayer Amschel's breakthrough comes when he gains the attention of Prince William of Hesse, one of the wealthiest princes in Europe. Prince William has a very specific business. He rents out German soldiers to other governments, including the British, who use them to fight wars around the world. This business generates enormous amounts of cash that needs to be managed, invested, and protected. Mayer Amschel positions himself as the perfect man to handle this money. He is trustworthy, brilliant with numbers, and operates completely outside the political rivalries that make European aristocrats suspicious of each other. Prince William gives Mayer Amschel control over a significant portion of his fortune, and overnight, a small coin dealer from the Frankfurt ghetto becomes the financial manager for one of Europe's most powerful men. Now here is where Mayer Amschel does something that no other businessman of his era had thought to do on this scale. He has 5 sons, and he sends each one to a different major city in Europe. Amschel stays in Frankfurt. Salomon goes to Vienna. Nathan goes to London. Kamen goes to Naples. And Jacob goes to Paris. 5 sons. 5 cities. 5 banking operations, all connected by a private courier network that moves information faster than any government postal system of the time. The Rothschild family becomes the first truly international banking network in history. While other bankers are limited to one city and one market, the Rothschilds can move money, information, and influence across an entire continent in days. This network becomes their greatest weapon during the Napoleonic Wars. Between 1803 and 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte plunges Europe into the most devastating series of wars the continent has ever seen. Governments desperately need money to fund their armies. Nathan Rothschild in London becomes the primary financier for the British war effort. He moves gold across enemy lines. He finances military campaigns. He keeps the British economy functioning while the rest of Europe is in chaos. And he does all of this while making enormous profits. By the time Napoleon is finally defeated, Nathan Rothschild is the most powerful banker in Britain and arguably in the entire world. And then comes the moment that defines the Rothschild legend forever. June 1815. The Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon faces the British and their allies in what everyone knows will be the decisive battle of the entire war. The outcome will determine the future of European civilization. Financial markets in London are in a state of extreme tension. If Napoleon wins, British government bonds will collapse in value. If Napoleon loses, British bonds will skyrocket. fortunes will be made or destroyed depending on the outcome of a single battle fought in Belgium. The Rothschild family has their own network of couriers stationed across Europe. When Napoleon is defeated at Waterloo on June 18, 1815, a Rothschild agent receives the news immediately. He rushes to the coast, crosses the English Channel, and delivers the information to Nathan Rothschild in London. Nathan receives news of Napoleon's defeat a full day before the British government receives official confirmation. He now knows something that nobody else in the London financial markets knows. Napoleon has lost. The war is over. British bonds are about to explode in value. What does Nathan Rothschild do with this information? He walks onto the floor of the London Stock Exchange and begins selling British government bonds. Not buying, selling. Every trader on the floor sees Nathan Rothschild selling bonds and draws the obvious conclusion. Rothschild knows something. Napoleon must have won. The market panics. Everyone starts selling bonds. The price of British government bonds collapses as traders desperately try to get rid of them before they become worthless. Nathan Rothschild is selling into this panic, driving prices even lower. And then, at exactly the right moment, when bond prices have fallen to their absolute lowest point, Nathan Rothschild reverses and starts buying. He purchases an enormous quantity of British government bonds at rock-bottom prices. When official news of Napoleon's defeat reaches London the next day, British bond prices skyrocket. Nathan Rothschild makes a profit so enormous that it gives him effective control over the Bank of England. In less than 24 hours, one man uses information as a weapon to seize control of the financial center of the most powerful empire on earth. This is the moment where most people watching begin to feel something shift in their understanding of how the world works. Because what Nathan Rothschild did at Waterloo was not just make money. He demonstrated a principle that the Rothschild family would apply for the next 2 centuries. Information is more powerful than money. And controlling the flow of information is more valuable than any single financial transaction. The family that knows first wins. Always. Every single time. And for 200 years, the Rothschilds made sure they always knew first. Now the story gets even more extraordinary. Because historians have documented that the Rothschild family did not just finance one side during various European conflicts. They frequently financed both sides simultaneously. Not because they were evil or wanted wars to continue, but because financing both sides of a conflict is the ultimate risk management strategy. No matter who wins, you are owed money. No matter which government survives, you are their creditor. No matter which side loses, they still owe you debts that the winning side will often honor to maintain financial stability. By financing both sides, the Rothschilds transformed war itself from a risk into a guaranteed profit center. This strategy made them indispensable to every major government in Europe. Kings could go to war. Empires could rise and fall. But the Rothschilds were always there afterward, holding the financial strings that determined whether the new order could function. By the mid-1800s, the Rothschild family owns more than any other private family in European history. Their mansions across England, France, Austria, and Germany are among the most spectacular private residences ever built. They own vineyards, art collections, private estates, and financial interests in railways, mining, and industry across the entire continent. But here is what makes the Rothschilds truly different from every other wealthy family of their era. They never stopped thinking like the family from the ghetto that needed to protect its wealth from a hostile world. They create financial structures so complex that outside investigators cannot determine what the family truly owns. They establish holding companies that own other holding companies. They create trusts that span generations. They move assets between family members across different countries in ways that make it impossible to calculate total family wealth. Now here is where the story requires honesty and care. Because the Rothschild family's real power and wealth has been used for over a century as the foundation for some of the most dangerous conspiracy theories in history. In the 1800s, anti-Semitic pamphlets accused the Rothschilds of controlling all the world's governments. In the 1900s, Nazi propaganda used the Rothschild family as a central villain in their campaign of hatred against Jewish people. To this day, online conspiracy theories claim the Rothschilds control everything from governments to weather systems to global media. These theories are dangerous, largely false, and have been used to justify real violence against Jewish communities around the world. The documented real story is extraordinary enough without any exaggeration. The Rothschilds did finance major governments. They did influence economic policy across Europe. Nathan Rothschild's control over British finance after Waterloo was real and documented. Their courier network did give them information advantages that shaped financial markets. But they did not control governments like puppet masters. They did not orchestrate wars for profit. What is the Rothschild family worth today? The honest answer is that nobody outside the family knows. Their primary public business, Rothschild & Company, is a major international investment bank that advises on mergers, acquisitions, and government debt restructuring around the world. Their private holdings, estates, art collections, and investment portfolios are managed through structures so complex that even sophisticated financial investigators cannot calculate total family wealth. What we do know is that the family owns some of the most valuable wine estates in France, including Chateau Mouton Rothschild and Chateau Lafite Rothschild, two of the most prestigious wine labels on earth. They own significant real estate across England and France. They maintain art collections that have never been publicly valued. And they continue to be involved in the kind of high-level government debt advisory work that Nathan Rothschild pioneered after Waterloo. 7 generations after Mayer Amschel Rothschild changed his name and hung a red shield outside his door in the Frankfurt ghetto, his descendants are still among the most connected and influential families on earth. They still operate across multiple countries through a coordinated family structure. They still manage their wealth through layers of legal complexity designed to protect it from taxation, scrutiny, and outside interference. And they are still almost entirely invisible to the public despite being one of the most researched and discussed families in human history. Here is the final lesson from the Rothschild dynasty. The Rothschilds understood something that most people never learn. Visibility is vulnerability. The moment you show the world exactly what you own, you give the world a target. John Rockefeller was visible. His empire was attacked, investigated, and broken apart. The Rothschilds stayed invisible. Their empire was whispered about, theorized about, and mythologized but never successfully attacked because nobody could ever fully see it clearly enough to know where to aim. In a world where social media encourages everyone to display their success publicly, the oldest and most successful wealth dynasty in human history built their entire strategy on showing the world absolutely nothing. From a locked ghetto in Frankfurt to a financial empire spanning 2 centuries and every continent on Earth, the Rothschilds remain the greatest proof that the most powerful forces in our world are almost always the ones we cannot see. Now I want to know what you think. Do you believe the Rothschild family is still as powerful today as they were in the 1800s? Or has their influence faded in the modern financial world? Drop your answer in the comments right now and let us debate this together. And if you want to see the complete story of the Saudi royal dynasty next week, the family that turned desert sand into $14 trillion of power, make sure you are subscribed because that story makes even the Rothschilds look small.